art of pivoting amid technology shifts.
Thank you for joining us, though. We appreciate it.
You are welcome. I have a couple people, actually they're here now. Cool.
Great.
They're switching from the other room. Hold on, I gotta figure my things out.
And for those who don't know you, if you would mind introducing yourself, that'd be great too.
I will. Are we just like, you ready to go?
Yeah, well, whenever you're ready, we hit recording already.
How long do I have, by the way?
I think an hour, hour-ish.
Good. Hopefully we won't actually go that long, but I talk a lot, so we might. All right, so I'm Jason Flynn. I'm the team leader in Fremont, so kind of right next to all y'all's. And this is about building smart databases. So I'm gonna share my screen and then we're just gonna start going. I'm big on conversation, so feel free to pop in at any time. Laura, if you can watch the chat though, I don't know who that was.
Sure.
If you can watch the chat, I'm terrible at watching the chat while I do this. So I'm also terrible at using Zoom. Hang on one second.
No, you're not.
You'd be surprised. I'm not that good at it. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, let me make this window better. Here we go. All right, so this actually kind of came out of family reunion back in February. Gary Keller and Jay Papasan did a class about having a smart database and what does that actually mean. And really what this all is about how to use technology to better keep in touch with your people, because all the tech companies are doing it anyways. So you might as well take advantage of the technology that we have, and you've got to be talking to your people at a higher level. I was listening to a panel of top producers up in Sacramento where they're actually, in a way, their market is actually way more competitive than ours in the Bay Area, because take all the challenges that we have creating competition and add in iBuyers, right? So they have Zillow, Open Door, I forget the other names of the companies, but the different companies where they can just go in, they communicate with your database for you, and they say, hey, instead of using an agent, you should just sell your house to us. Yeah, you're not going to get as much money, but then you don't have to deal with an agent. And they're pretty happy about it. They say, okay, and they move on. That's the type of thing that you're going to, the one thing that like Zillow cannot provide is that value you provide as a human being to the people that you know. The only way that they're going to know that they need to work with you is by communicating with them. That's a smart database. So that's what we're going to be talking about. All right, so what we're talking about there's going to be 4 pieces of it. One is just understanding the difference, or really what makes a smart business through a smart database. Number 2 is why we're going to build it. So the whole first half is a little bit about the theory about what is it and why are we even doing this. And then the second half is actually how to do it. Like I'm going to walk you through, not step by step, like you can't follow along with me and do it, but you can, you'll get a good idea of what we're doing. And then how to compete with them, and the them are those tech companies. And then the actual steps that you're going to need to do on your own in order to put together something. And I'll show you how the thing you're going to put together is essentially exactly what Zillow is doing to keep in front of their people. So what this is a high-level conversation about how to create a smart database. We will talk about the step-by-step blueprint, and Laura said we are recording it. So it'll be a little bit easier later to kind of follow along when you need to slow it down, because sometimes I talk quick. What it isn't is hands-on instructions. I'm not going to sit here and wait for everyone to click this piece and click that piece. We are going to move fast, and I do have a list of resources at the end for you as well. So who am I? Like I said, I'm the team leader up at Benchmark Properties, which is Fremont. You can find me. There's an email address. There's how you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm Jason the Flynn practically everywhere that you can find. I love business development. It's why I ended up being a team leader instead of running, once I kind of shut down my own real estate team, popped around for a little bit down to Santa Cruz to hang out on the beach, but now working with agents in business development, right? Actually saying like, how can you, our saying is build a business worth owning for life's worth living. It's how do we actually build businesses instead of just how do you sell another house, one extra house than you did last year. I have a degree in information technology, which I got that degree just to get a degree. And I was like, huh, I'm never going to do it. Well, it turns out information technology is just database management. Turns out that's real estate. So surprise. And then I have a master's in marketing, and take those two things together, slam them into each other, and this all becomes very nerdily exciting for me. And then also I'm a labs advisor with KW Labs. So we're the ones kind of taking your feedback about what does and doesn't work with Command and all the different KW applications and passing it on to KWRI to get things working the way that we want them, since it's built for agents by agents. And then a quick disclaimer about CRMs. So the worst, let's not say the worst, but one of the worst questions that agents ask in real estate is which CRM is best, because the easiest answer of that is the one that you use, right? But you go on a group like LabCoat Agents and you'll see people just argue left and right about this is the best, no, this is the best. They go back and forth. It doesn't matter. Like, you just need a CRM. You need one that has at least basic functionality. You could build what we're going to talk about today in a bunch of different CRMs. It kind of doesn't matter which one you use. There are a couple advantages of using Command in this case that you'll see, but we're going to be talking from Command. But if you're not a Command user, or if you're not a Keller Williams agent and don't have access to it, this still applies to you. Like, don't think, oh, this is all just a pitch fest for Command. It's not. We're going to talk from Command, but you can use anything for this. Not quite anything, but mostly anything. So Gary Keller says that a business is an organized effort to sell a product and has customers. And if you don't have customers, you don't have a business, you have a hobby, right? So how many agents do you know you see come to the office, you see on Instagram, they're posting all the time about, oh my God, here I am in front of my awesome Lamborghini and showing this house. But you know they're not actually doing sales. They don't have customers. They have a really flashy hobby for a bit. What we're going to do is use your smart database on this slide. A smart database is one that allows you to have planned and meaningful communication with your potential customers. Just posting randomly on Instagram and Facebook is not planned and meaningful communication. So what we want to do is take those agents that are that person that's just kind of throwing some marketing out there from time to time, get them using planned and meaningful communication with their potential clients. Then all of a sudden they're moving from being that hobbyist of a real estate agent into actually owning a business. And then I highlighted on there, the main part is planned and meaningful communication. Laura, how often have you ever talked to an agent when they say, you know, oh, what do you use as a CRM? And they're like, I don't need a CRM, I have a phone, right? Like, it's every so often an agent, I literally had one not too long ago tell me, like, I don't need a CRM, I just set reminders in my phone. Great. That's planned and meaningful communication technically, but it's not planned and meaningful with the number of people that we're going to need to be in communication with to run a fruitful business, for lack of a better term. I hate that term, but I'm going with it. You know, it's we want to use technology in order to enhance our communication with more people. It's going nice and slow for me. All right, so a non-real estate example of this, right? So probably 80–90% of the training that we do at Keller Williams isn't necessarily just about real estate, it's about business, and we happen to apply it to real estate. So here's an example in non-real estate where they actually could use a smart business or a smart database. So think of when you go to the mall, if you still go to malls, you're walking down the way and there's a little kiosk and the guy's trying to sell you the Dead Sea salt for your hands, right? And you're trying to get by them, you're just trying to get to the Apple store and they're in your face trying to sell you this salt. You're like, oh my God, leave me alone. Maybe you buy it. Well, once you buy it, you probably never hear from them again, right? So that's called just a business. It's a target of opportunity. They saw a potential client, they converted that client right there, boom, they never returned to it. That's just a business. They don't have a database, they're not having planned and meaningful communication. But then when you look at what Chipotle is doing, they're collecting all the information about you, right? So was it when you sign up, I think you get a free side of guac when you sign up for their little rewards program. And that guacamole is like $8, so it's a really good deal. they're going to start tracking everything you're doing, and they're going to start seeing your patterns. And when you're ordering food on the website and doing these things, so all of a sudden, maybe you start to get an email that says, hey, you buy this burrito bowl on every Tuesday. Can we have it delivered to you? Right? Like, or hey, maybe click here to order now. Kind of reminding you, we know your preferences, we know your patterns, we know your habits. We're going to start communicating with that person ahead of time automatically instead of us just trying to, think of the guy on the side of the road with the little flashy sign saying, hey, come into Chipotle. No, you don't need that when you have a smart database. So they're actually being intentional about getting in front of their people. Another example is Phil's Coffee. The last time I taught this, literally right before I taught it, I got a little notification from Phil's Coffee saying, haven't seen you in a week, right? It just popped up on my phone and said, click here to order. That's a smart database or a smart business using a smart database. So within a smart database, there's going to be 3 levels, right? So we're going to build a foundation and then we're going to build on top of that. So number 1, or a level 1 database, is where you just have a name, contact info, and a contact record, and you provide what we call at-will communication. So that's kind of that agent I was saying that has his cell phone, right? It's, for the most part, if that's his database, he's just contacting people when he remembers to. Like, oh, maybe he saw something on TV that triggered a memory of a friend. He goes, I haven't reached out to that guy in a while. He shoots him a text, gives him a call. That's a level 1 database. You don't have a lot of information in there, but you have just enough. Anything below that's just not a database. Number 2 is where you have collected permission. So this is really big right now with the TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and anti-spam laws. You actually have permission to talk to these people. You're not just buying a list from somebody and blasting out emails. You have their personal information and their preferences, specifically the preferences. So in level 1, you have their personal information and their contact info, but then in their preferences, you might know what's there in real estate, what kind of houses do they prefer? Or even what kind of car do they drive? Where do their kids go to school? All these little pieces of information that you can use to have a higher level conversation than someone like Zillow has, who's literally just calling them, asking them if they're still interested in that house that they looked at online 18 months ago. You have them segmented and grouped. So maybe you have homeowners, maybe you have renters, past clients. You'll have a bunch of different groups that you have them segmented into to increase the efficiency in how you're having that communication. And then you're having purposeful, consistent communication. So purposeful and consistent, right? We can't just rely on sending them a text when we remember to think about them, right? We're going to have purposeful, consistent communication. And then level 3 is where we're actually going to add in some automation, communication built on triggers. So with triggers, this is where people start to kind of say, oh, no, I don't want technology to replace me. I provide an incredibly high level of service for my clients. I don't need automation. I don't want it to replace me in the transaction or in my relationship. And that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is using technology to enhance your relationship with those people. So for instance, I know my mom's birthday is next week. It's convenient that I'm teaching this a week before, because when I used this example before a few months ago, it wasn't. I just happen to remember her birthday's next week. I have kind of a crazy schedule. I will probably forget next week that her birthday is on, I think it's Tuesday. I will probably forget what day her birthday is that day, or rather that day is her birthday. But when I'm using an app to remind me, hey, it's your mom's birthday today, give her a call, does that mean that I don't care about her or that I don't want to give her a call on her birthday? Absolutely not. Does it mean that it's actually maybe going to enhance our relationship because I will remember to actually call her on her birthday because I'm scatterbrained and I'm a high D like most agents, right? So I'm using technology to enhance the relationship, not to replace our relationship. Now, if I used it just to send her an email saying, HBD, mom, like happy birthday, have a good day. Okay, great. Now I've used technology to replace our relationship, and that's not what we want to do. So those are the 3 levels of the smart database. And then why this matters is that people already know you, they already like you, and they might trust you. We're going to use technology to nurture your relationship with them to really bolster that last part. They know you, they like you, and they might trust you. We want to get them from maybe trusting you into actually trusting you. And then knowing more than 200 people is just hard, right? And that's where we're going to use technology to the rescue. And that's that perfect example I was just explaining with my parents or my family in general. I don't always remember certain dates and things, especially when we start talking about 200 people or I have 1,300 people on my database. There's no way I remember a lot of details about them, so on and so forth. That's where we're going to use technology. And then why this matters, 72% of people say that they would work with their realtor again, but only 18% actually do, and that number is decreasing, right? The number of people that are actually using their realtor a second time is decreasing because the amount of information being thrown at them all the time, not from their realtor, from Zillow, from advertising, from that big agent that lives in their neighborhood that's constantly marketing to them. But your smart database is going to help improve that. And then also, this is high ROI kind of business. You see agents all the time chasing Zillow ads, Realtor.com ads, Facebook ads, all these different things and spending money. But in reality, 6% of the people that you know right now are going to buy or sell a house in the next 12 months. And then additionally, another 6% would generate referrals for you. So that means there's probably, just statistically, there is a chance of getting some sort of piece of business from 12% of your database in a given year. Let's narrow that down and say 10%, just to kind of, hedge your bet a little bit. So 10% of everyone you know could either use your service directly or refer you business in the next year. So that's high ROI because you're not spending much, if all any, or much, I don't know how to word that. You're not spending much money, if any money at all on this. You're just nurturing relationships. And then we talk about this one a lot with the 6 personal perspectives of moving from E to P. By building this database, by getting serious about your purposeful and meaningful communication with your client base, you're moving from that entrepreneurial style into the purposeful style, right? You are no longer the agent that's just hoping that they sold more than they sold the year before. You have goals. We're going to go over some of the math to calculate out, what kind of ROIs you can expect out of this kind of business. So that way you're actually able to say, I will sell this many houses this year from this many people in my database. This is how much money we'll make. So I know how much I have to reinvest in my business. So you're going to get out of being the entrepreneurial minded agent and going into that purposeful side. All right, so far, no questions, right? Nothing in the chat, we're good? All right, moving on. Quick tangent. So again, I'm a high D. I squirrel objects, shiny objects. So little tangents. I get it. You're looking at this and you're saying average commission earned is only $8,000. That doesn't apply in my market, blah, blah, blah. I get it. That's fine. We kind of just went off of a little bit more national average because they teach this in more than just our region. So you can do the math there to figure out if you have 1,000 contacts in your database, and we know that 6%, 6% of them are going to buy or sell their house every year, preferably with you. So over 10 years, that's 600 transactions that can happen over those next 10 years just from your database of 1,000 people. Take average commission of $8,000, multiply it by the 600, $4.8 million potential income over the next 10 years. And when we say, hey, but our average purchase price is much higher, great. That's probably closer to at least 10 million of GCI. It does not include referrals, double ends, increased prices, or growth through lead generation. Just simply saying I have 1,000 people in my database and I'm nurturing them at a high level could produce $10 million in our market of GCI over the next 10 years. I don't know about most of you, but I could use that kind of income. So I'm not at that production level. I've already asked if you have any questions. So that was basically the whole idea of part 1. We're going to go a little bit more into why we're doing this and how we're doing it from here. So this is what I call Jason's super awesome formula.
Jason,
yeah.
Just,
Yep.
nobody's really putting anything in the chat, but I just thought I'd ask, does anybody have
Yeah.
any questions so far that you want to ask? And I did the math. I did 600 times 20,000. It's 12 million.
See, I don't do public math. I can't think on my feet like that.
No worries.
So,
I had my phone
yeah.
with a calculator in it.
You figure $12 million, divide that over 10 years, $1.2 million a year just from one source of lead generation. Right? Like is, most, I would say, I know a couple of people in here maybe making close to that in gross, and it's like, okay, cool.
I did
Everyone else?
20,000. 20,000 is maybe low too. So
Yeah. I mean, especially right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like with how manic everything is going right now, that all of a sudden we're averaging over 1.5. It's
Right.
crazy.
Right. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Easy.
All right.
I like easy groups. We're gonna make it through this incredibly fast, and then we can just chat and BS the whole time. It'll be fun. All right. So this is Jason's super awesome formula for building a smart database. And so these are the 5 things that we're going to do sequentially in order to get there. So number 1 is actually having your contacts. We're looking for at least 200 contacts minimum. And really, because I've had agents say, oh, I only have 50 people in my database. It's just not enough. When, even if you look at that and say, okay, 10%, that could be, there could be some transactions in there. Yeah, but not consistently enough. Law of large numbers says you need more people. So let's start with at least 200 people with 5 pieces of information: name, email, phone number, address, and birthday. And those pieces are important as we kind of add on these extra layers. But if you can have 200 people with all 5 pieces of information, you do this at a high level, you could probably actually get more business out of this than you kind of really need, especially at our price point. And then through organization, we're going to be using the DTD2 tags, which is doing the database 2. I have a whole slide about that we'll talk about. And then VIP tags just means we're going to, who are the people that are most likely to help you earn a piece of business or give you a piece of business over the next year. We're going to give them additional tag called VIP just to kind of make sure we're maybe touching them at one extra higher level than the rest. Then we're going to assign 3 smart plans. Smart plans in Command, action plans in other CRMs, whatever you use. This is where we get into the automation side of it. Number 1 is quarterly call plan. It's built into Command already. If you're not using Command, you can actually just you need something that's going to remind you to call them once a quarter. And I'm going to show you how we're going to use that spaced out on DTD2. So it's not like at the beginning of the quarter, you have, 1,000 people to call. It'll break it down weekly for you. Smart plan number 2 is the monthly neighborhood nurture. This is going to be a little bit of set it and forget it. It takes a little bit of work to get it going, but once it's going, you can kind of just let it run on its own, and we'll show you why. And then smart plan number 3 is birthday smart plans, and we'll talk about why as well. Oops. All right. So this is quick tangent number 2. This is how I know this works, right? You'll have agents say, I don't know, like it's a bunch of theory, blah, blah, blah. Cool. This is literally how Zillow gets their business, right? And here we are all worried about Zillow being Zillow. This is literally what they're doing. Is that someone goes to their site. Maybe they found it just because they know about the Zestimate. Maybe they found it through a web search. Either way, the client went and visited the site. They ended up registering because Zillow will let them do so much for free, but then as soon as they request information or just even want to save a property, or more importantly, the one they really get people with is saying, hey, if you think your Zestimate's off, just register here and you can update. If you own this home, register here. That's how they're getting their information. Once they register, Zillow's not calling them, right? They don't call them right away. They just kind of let it run.
We had a power surge and it went off.
Elaine had a power surge.
Hey, Elaine, you're not muted and I can't mute you. I don't have the ability to mute you. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
No one has an ability to mute Elaine. All right. So
damn right.
So they get registered on the website, right? But Zillow doesn't start calling them right away. And that's where you'll see our agents like, oh, someone registered, I have to call them right away. Zillow's not doing that. They just say, thank you for your information. Here's the information you were looking for, and they're moving on. And then what do? They start dripping them with an email. They say, hey, you looked at these properties in 95003. Here's some more properties like it. Here's some more information. And they just start kind of just touching on them just a little bit. They hit them with some ads every now and then. They send them monthly emails, but they're still not calling them. But then what happens is that client then sees that email. They happen to click on it. They go back to the website. There's a property that they really want more information on. As soon as they click, hey, I want more information, all of a sudden Zillow says this person is now high intent. Let's give them a call. They give them to an agent. That agent gives them a call. That process is about 18 months. So as kind of a quick tangent to my quick tangent, when everyone is saying, oh, Facebook ads suck, like no one picks up the phone. Yeah, exactly. That's why Zillow emails them for 18 months. This is how long the conversion takes. It's also why Zillow is now able to charge you 30 to 35% for each of those leads, is because they did all the work for you. They did all this follow-up through automation. They didn't actually really do anything. They did all the follow-up for you. And then now they're going to take a 30-year commission for now. And that number keeps going up every couple of years. So look at these two different emails. Both of these, I think I got them roughly the same, 2 weeks apart from each other. One from Zillow and one from KW Command. They're practically the same type of email, right? The content isn't exactly the same, but it's doing one thing. It's encouraging people to say, that's interesting, click to learn more. On the left, on Zillow's email, it says view homes. On the right, it says explore neighborhood. But they're doing the same thing. They're saying, here's some interesting things that have happened in the market that you are interested in. Please click here. And then once they keep going to the website, that's where they kind of attack them with more ads. But this is how we know it works. We're literally doing the thing that Zillow does. We're just going to do it on our own, so that instead of them going to a Zillow Premier agent, they're going to come to us. We're going to get notified. We're going to chase down that person at that time. All right, so for the DTD2, we're going to keep talking about it, so might as well cover what it is right now if you're not familiar. It's a way to break your database up into easily contacting them 4 times a year, so once a quarter, based off of the first letter of their last name, right? And this is actually kind of statistically driven to say there are roughly the same percentage of people have the last name starting with A and W as there are with B and E, D and O. And so you can see, so like right now we're on June 21st, isn't it? Or 22nd?
22nd.
So like this week, I would be calling everyone in my database that has the last name of I, that starts with an I or Q, right? And so now I go through it. So if I have 1,300 people and this is evenly spaced out and I'm going to call them 4 times a year, again, I'm not going to do math, but it's about 20 to 30 people to reach out to that week, right? And so we're using this to break it down, and then we're going to use that smart plan to make it even easier. So Command is telling us when it's time to call which people, instead of me having to refer to a chart and flip through my database. It's going to create a list for me. But the whole idea is that it's breaking it into groups so that I contact them at least once a quarter. Prefer a phone call, but not everyone wants a phone call, and we'll continue talking about that. So I said we're going to use a smart plan to have it generate you a list every week. At the same time, you can also filter to see everyone in that category. So I know during Bold, they were having people actually call 2 groups of people, right, in a week. You were calling your 2 groups. You can easily filter in Command, say, hey, show me everyone with YZ, AWDO, all the different categories. And so it creates just a quick little list for you to go through. All right, so we've already talked about these for the most part, saying that this is how we're actually going to set this up. What you're going to do is you're going to take this slide. You can get the slides at the end. I have a little link that you can follow to actually get the slides. And these are the exact steps to follow to go through and do this. And number one is starting with Excel. Then you're going to upload it into Command, activate smart plans. You're going to send a thing I call the magic email. That is a very critical step that we'll talk about. And then you just need to do the work, right? This is going to tell you when to contact people. Just start contacting them at that time. That's all, basically all you have to do. It's going to help increase your conversations. So the reason we say to start with Excel is because it's much easier to manipulate data in Excel versus any CRM, right? Because with any CRM, you got to open the page, you got to go through, hit edit, go through all these things. But with Excel, basically the way I teach people do it is you almost go into like a stream of consciousness, right? You start with this Excel sheet, and if you don't already have a database, just start listing out every person you know. Just literally think about Laura Glisa, Elaine Della Santina, hit enter, just keep going down, down, down. Don't worry about filling in the information, just list out everybody you can think of. If you already have a CRM, export it into an Excel sheet so you can start identifying where the gaps are. Right. And so get to the 200 people that you know first, and then you're going to go back and fill in the data. You can use third-party companies will actually do this for you. There's one, I haven't tested it yet, but when I do test it, I'll get the word out there. That looks pretty interesting, that it'll actually use AI to fill in the extra data for you. But go into your phone, go into your email, go into your Facebook. Like logging into Facebook, you can get a lot of birthdays. I don't care about the year, I just need the date. People love when people say that happy birthday to them on Facebook, so their birthdays are on Facebook. So go get those. Again, 5 pieces of data: name, email, phone number, address, and birthday are what you're looking for to have minimum in your smart database. And then step 2 is when you're going to upload it to command. This is what trips people up a lot, because if the formatting's off, and this is any CRM, if the formatting's off, you're going to have a problem. If you didn't follow, I think I have on here, you can see that you can download a pre-made CSV to have the proper format of how they want people uploaded into command. If you don't follow this, again, for any CRM, if you don't follow it, it's going to corrupt your data as it goes in. Maybe phone numbers are suddenly showing up under birthdays and vice versa. So what you're going to do is you're going to upload small chunks of them at first. Maybe do 10 at a time. Upload them, check the formatting, upload 10 more, check the formatting. If everything looks good and you know everything's in your Excel sheet is kind of kosher with the rest of it, hit upload, and there you go. But just please make sure you do that before you go upload 1,000 people. Because I literally saw when Command first came out, people using 10,000 people Excel sheets, uploading it, and it being wrong in one place, and then they had to go delete every single person. It was a giant pain. Luckily now you can mass delete people, but still you don't want to do that. Just check it the first time around. And again, in Excel, it can be very easy if you have, on the way they like it in there is having first name and last name separated. If the database you exported it from has first last name combined, there's a way to separate it. You can Google how to do it, but there's a way you can separate it. It's very easy to do in Excel, much more difficult to do once it's already in the system. And then the other thing is you're going to assign, okay, back on this step with Excel, you can put all your tags in there, right? You would have to test it to see how well it's working at the moment, but you can put your different tags in there, your DTD2 tags, your VIP tags, maybe past buyer, past seller. You can have those different tags in Excel so that you don't have to add them into command later. And then you're going to activate smart plans. We'll talk about what each of these 3 smart plans does, but basically you just activate them and then it kind of starts running for you. But the quarterly call plan, that's the one I was saying, we're going to assign it using the DTD2 formula so that it's going to remind you once a quarter to call that person. Now, here's the thing. I keep saying call people because that's the way I've been taught. We've talked about it a lot, that you need to be calling, like bold for a long time. A contact didn't count unless you called the person. We get it. Things have changed. I have a few people, if I called them, they'll just text me right back saying, what's up? Like they don't want me to call them. I have agents that don't want me to call them. They want me to text them. I tell people text me all the time. It's easier for me to respond to people in text if it doesn't warrant a full conversation. So that's fine. What you're going to do is it's going to give you your list at the beginning of the week. You're going to go through those people one by one and say, okay, Laura's number 1. Guess what? I just talked to Laura yesterday. I don't need to call her today. Check, move on. Oh, Rob's number 2. I haven't talked to Rob in a long time. he's a busy guy. I'm not going to call him. I'm going to shoot him a text. Done. Check. Go to the next person. Go to the next person. Maybe there's some people you're just going to go on their Facebook page and shoot them a message through Facebook or Instagram. However you best communicate with that person, that's how you're going to communicate with that person. And again, sometimes there's going to be people, I have some people in my database I just don't want to call. At least I'm making the conscious decision to not call that person that quarter. And guess what? If I've skipped them a few times, I probably just need to remove them. Like if I'm never wanting to call the person, why do I have them in my database? Monthly neighborhood nurture, that's the one, it's going to send out those emails once a month. There's also a bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, which will send it every other week for you or twice a month.
That was a question that was asked in the chat. Can it go out weekly? No, not weekly, but bi-weekly it can.
Yeah, you could do bi-weekly. Weekly, because it's narrowing it down, I gotta go back too many slides to it, but because it's such a narrow area, like Zillow does everything by like zip code, right? And so like in San Jose, I'm assuming there's some very large zip codes, kind of like Fremont, where you could have tons of listings in one zip code that have nothing to do with one side of the zip code has nothing to do with the other side. What KW's research showed was consumers wanted narrower focus. That's why nextdoor.com is so prevalent in neighborhoods, is because it's neighborhood level data. So that's why we used Nextdoor neighborhood lines in order to identify certain neighborhoods. You can assign people to more than one neighborhood. So I'm going to use the one neighborhood in San Jose I know, Willow Glen. And like, let's say I like Willow, or I want to send them monthly neighborhood nurture for Willow Glen. I might choose the others right around it as well, as long as they're applicable for that area. But basically, if you had them in one little neighborhood and it was sending them weekly, it would just be like, nothing new, nothing new, nothing new. And we don't want that either. By using the bi-weekly, you can actually kind of build that out into a 36 touch pretty easily, because that would give them 24 email touches a year. And so that'll actually help you get toward your 36 touches. So birthday's going to basically give you a reminder their birthday's coming up. I think it's 3 or 5 days prior. I can't quite remember, but it's 3 or 5 days prior to their birthday. It's going to give you a reminder, and then it'll give you a reminder, I think, the day before their birthday. And so you'll see a lot of users of Command that are starting to post the day before people's birthday. They'll post like that night on people's Facebook walls, and they get noticed a little bit more. So at the same time, something to think about with birthdays. Think to your last birthday. How many people posted on your wall on Facebook just saying like HBD? How many people sent you a Facebook message? How many people sent you a text message, gave you a phone call, or sent you a card? Right? Like I used to get cards all the time, and now I get like 2 cards, right? Grandparents send cards. That doesn't mean you shouldn't send people a card. I tell this story kind of often, but I sent a birthday card to someone once, I had just started in real estate. I sent him a birthday card. I had a $5 or a $10 gift certificate for Starbucks, threw it in there. He lives in Ohio, but I knew he had a house in San Francisco. I sent him a birthday card, just, hey, happy birthday. It's Ohio and it's January. It's probably cold. So here's $10 for Starbucks. Knock yourself out. He called me back and he said, hey, I'm so shocking that I got a birthday card from you. That's weird. I'm going to be in town next week. Do you want to talk about selling my California houses? Got $550,000 listing for a $10 gift certificate. That was it. How many more birthday cards have I sent out since then? So, success leaves clues. Don't follow me on that one. Actually send the birthday cards. But you can touch people at a much higher level. Zillow is not calling them on their birthday and talking to them and asking how their family is. Okay, this is important with smart plans. When using the quarterly call plan and you're going to use DTD2, it'll let you set a start date for it, right? So you don't have to wait until the week that, like I's and Q's are this week. You didn't have to wait until this week to start it. You can literally go today. If your database is ready, you've already done the Excel part. If you're ready to go, you can go in there today and program out the entire year, right? Because what it's going to do, I don't have the steps on it. See how there's 3 steps under quarterly call plan? What it's doing is it's saying, set a task reminder to call this person. then it says delay 90 days, and then it says repeat task, right? So the third step is repeat task. So every quarter, it's going to call this person to your task list. And so you can program that out now to say, hey, next Monday, have me call all the J's and K's. The next Monday after that, have me call all the so-and-sos, so on and so forth. So you can program out the whole year. It'll take you maybe an hour. I don't even think it'll take an hour if your database is already organized to get all those scheduled out for essentially the next however many years. Only problem is going to be adding people into it as you go, but small problems. Then this one gets interesting. So the magic email, what you're going to do after you get everyone uploaded and in there is you're going to send an email to the contacts and you're going to tell them what you're going to do. I was in the same boat as a lot of people thinking, I don't want to email all my people. They're going to think I'm selling them and they're going to unsubscribe. They're going to report me as spam and they're not going to like me anymore. I can't remember where I heard about this email, but it works wonderfully. I love it. So what you're going to do, or what I did, I sent out 400 of these emails to my sphere at the time, and I had 2 people request to opt out. 20 people told me that they want more info, and 4 people identified that they had a real estate need right then. Because what I'm doing is I'm emailing them this message saying, in an effort to help my friends and family have a better understanding about real estate, I'm going to be sending you a couple of minutes a month. I don't want to spam you. Please respond if you'd rather not get this info, blah, blah, blah. At the very end of this presentation, I have a link. I have a whole copy. You can just copy and paste, modify a couple names in it, but the exact email that I sent out to them, I have available at the end. And so what I'm doing is I'm telling them, hey, I want you to be informed. You're basically saying, I'm a real estate professional. I have information you want to have. Please don't unsubscribe from me. I thought I would get a whole bunch of people saying, yeah, I don't care, leave me alone. I only had 2 people requesting to opt out. Technically, I had a third one because she was like, how did I get on your list? I don't even know who it is. So I removed her. Then I had 2 requests out. One said, I'd rather just not have the information. And the other was an aunt that said, I'd rather you just call me once in a while. She's like, I'd rather have you call me every now and then. Ironically, she lives in Fremont. And so she lives down the street from my office now. Anyways, but she said, just call me once in a while. So guess what? When her name comes up on my DTD2, it makes it real easy to call her because I know she wants me. She told me to call her. So of course I'm going to call her. Then the surprising part was the 20 people that actually said, I would love that information. They had some questions, hey, what do you know about first-time home buyers? What do you know about 20% down payments? Things like that. They were asking questions, so it started conversations. And then 4 actually identified, oh, hey, I need to buy or sell a house, or I need a realtor for this, or a couple examples were refinances, right? Well, guess what? Keller Mortgage connecting with a refi. I think I had 6 refis closed last year. Partly because of this email. So 4 people actually identified, I have a real estate need right now. And 2 of them were actually referrals that ended up closing. So essentially 1 email probably made me $4,000 or $5,000. Might as well keep doing it. But again, what it does is it makes you feel like I'm not attacking them. I have permission to contact these people. All right, step 5. Oh man. Oh. Computer's going crazy on me. Okay, step 5, do the work. So what you're going to do is every day you're going to log in to Command, or really every Monday, but I'd prefer if you did it every day. But at least on Mondays, you're going to log in and you're going to see this screen. If you go up to Customize Home in the upper right-hand corner, you can move these different windows around. I like to have the tasks be the first thing that I see in there. I know a lot of people like to have their leads in there. Great. They make tasks the second thing that you see. So then it's going to tell me phone call right there. It says phone call with Jason Flynn. I'm overdue. Of course I'm overdue. I'm a high D. And so I'm overdue. Great. Start checking them off. And you can check them off right there. Now I can also click on it and then I can fill out, hey, I contacted him and this is the conversation we had. Because again, the smart database is keeping track of people's preferences, keeping track of our communication. So you can handle all of that right there. But basically it's log in once a week and make these contacts. But in reality, you're going to end up plugging in every day because you won't make all the contacts in one day. I know you. Log the notes in command, and then whenever you assign new contacts, so say you do an open house and all of a sudden you had a few great conversations and you want to use those, you want to get those people into your database, assign them to the same smart plans, right? We're going to put them on the same thing. Say you met them at an open house or it's a Facebook lead and you don't have their address, fantastic. Assign them a monthly neighborhood nurture for the house you met them at or the property they inquired about on Facebook. It's a start. They can modify it as they want. They can add neighborhoods and on their own later. So if this sounds too easy, because all we're saying is put people in your database, assign them to smart plans, and do the work that it tells you to do at the end of the day. If it sounds too easy, I stole some old laws. So success is simple and not easy, right? So it's a very simple plan, just follow it. Now try to follow it for 52 weeks for the next 10 years. It's a little tougher. Fortune is in the follow-up, so that's why you're going to follow up with them. And then focus on the plan, not the problem. When you do this for a month and you're like, I don't have anybody contacting me, no one has bought a house with me yet, and I took this class and he said it would work and it hasn't worked, cool, don't worry about it. Focus on the plan. That's my favorite bold law. Focus on the plan, not the problem. Just, we know this works. Zillow does it. They are the largest publicly traded real estate company right now, right? They're a real estate company and this is what they do. Do you think they're worried about someone unsubscribed from them or didn't answer the phone? No. So anyways, focus on the plan, not the problem. Just keep going. And then to get more help. So yeah, this is all a great theory. You've got to go execute. And if you need more help, you should have a market center tech trainer or a regional tech trainer. You guys definitely have a regional tech trainer. His name is Zach. You've probably met him. But talk to your market centers and get the help through them. We also have a very good Facebook group. The KW Command Facebook group is a great place for help. We do a pretty good job. I'm an administrator in it. We do a pretty good job of trying to knock out some of the negativity of people complaining about business. Great, but go there and get help. There's a lot of people in there, other labs advisors that are willing to take time out of their day and help you build a system like this. And then there's also third-party services that can help you for a fee. I know a couple companies that will actually do all this for you. The thing they can't do though is figure out who you actually know. You're gonna have to do this much legwork to help them build that database, but they'll get uploaded, they'll get all your database contacts assigned. They're gonna do all sorts of stuff for you. If you're curious about any of those, this isn't my contact info, it's at the beginning, but just Jason at jasontheflynn.com, jflynn@kw.com. Just get in touch with me. I'll help you get connected with one of those third-party services. On the left, I created a share drive. Just hit that link. It'll take you to, I have a copy of the magic email template, the DTD2 schedule. I think I have a copy of these slides in there. We've been kind of adding to it after every time we teach this class. So check out that. And then I also started a newsletter, which I will not spam you because I generally forget to send out emails, but I won't spam you. But we've been talking a lot about business and tech and marketing. And with that,
wait, go back, because I'm trying to put it in the chat.
I went back.
I just want to make sure I did it right. exhibit.ly/smart database share. Okay, I put it in the chat.
Rob, it should be in there, and if not, I will send you the database. Or I mean the slides. You can't have my database.
Yeah, it's there.
You actually know a lot of people in my database because you, me, Laura, and Elaine all live in Santa Cruz at one point or the other.
So in the thing I put in the chat, the bit.ly, it's there. I just checked it.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Anyway. Does anybody have any questions? This was awesome, Jason.
It's a lot of talking.
You did great. Anybody have any questions?
I'm easy. It's because they all know me now.
How about any ahas? Was there anything that you hadn't thought about before?
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Rob, you're okay.
I just liked what you just said, Jason. And I think about it even as team leaders. It's all about the follow-up. It's all about consistency. And if you just do it, no matter how boring it is, you'll get the results that you need.
What's that? There's the other quote I always forget. I just saw someone post it yesterday. about success or whatever is doing the boring things over and over or whatever it is. Whatever that quote is, it's a really good one. You should look it up.
Thank you,
Hey,
Jason.
Renee. See Renee Mello.
Miss you, Jason.
I know, I haven't seen you in a while.
I
gotta come-
know.
I gotta come down there. It gets hot over here.
It
Well, it
doesn't
was-
here. We have our air conditioning.
It was a great class, Jason. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome.
And the
Yeah.
links that you shared as well.
If you've got open house opportunities, my agents want them, so let me know.
All right.
So, cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.